Okay, I'm back. I'm trying to revisit this burner. I ran it the other night. I had 5 boxes of vices set up. There's like 2 in each. I put 2 together, so I had like 3 pours per box instead of 5. It's definitely easier to cut the sprue off with only a single vice, but I found like filling up the can, I'd have a lot left extra, so I wanted to be more efficient. So I tried putting 2 together, filling up the can, and as you can see, there's still quite a bit left over, which is good. I like to have a bit extra there, just for shrinkage or whatnot. I was having trouble with the burner, keeping it hot. Most of them work, so there's 12 here. I did have, this is the worst one. But 8 out of 12 work perfect, and then there's like 3 that one of the legs right there like didn't completely fill. And yeah, I was just having trouble. I found this funnel with a flexible pipe, and I pushed it in there. But when I turned my oil on, it was kind of restricted, and I could only turn it on so high, otherwise it would flow over. So I wasn't able to keep enough oil going through to keep this thing hot. When I started it, I had a good amount of like coals from a wood stove. Just shoveled wood coals in there just to get it started. So that ran hot for a while, but I think as those coals eventually burned off and died, the thing just started slowly cooling down. I just couldn't get the oil to it. So I abandoned it and didn't bother to pour those. But I want to try it again. Actually, I shoved this in there and I was half thinking maybe there's a kink in it or something, but now I'm looking at it and it's like there's actually a bunch of crud. There's a filter there. So maybe that filter got clogged up, which is fine. I don't need a filter because it's just going in and there's no like nozzles, basically flow in and burning, right? So I'm gonna get rid of this restriction. I'm gonna pull this back out, have another look at it, make sure I don't have it kink badly. Take that filter out and try running it again. Hopefully it does better, because it's way nicer having that big cup there than trying to drip oil straight into this little hole here. So that's the plan. I've had those sitting outside for a couple days. They're quite cold, so I might just leave them. I got a few bathroom signs made up, so they'll just be like one inch thick blocks. You know, have a nice poop, use the force. I think that's Darth Vader sitting on the toilet there. And then these like the old bathroom roll debate, which way is better. So the beard guy's happy and the mullet guy's sad. And then I got this one here, beards are cool. No denying that. Anyway, I'm gonna set those up, try running this thing again. I might have a couple other things around that I might throw in there. Actually, these have been inside. I didn't bring them out, so that they're warm. They're good to go. I might pour those, but we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, that's where I'm at. Hopefully, I can finally get this thing dialed in. And yeah, I mean, definitely. I think it's possible. But yeah, I'll be back. All right, so I've had a few people suggest that I need to filter my oil, and you know, I tend to agree. Basically what I've been doing is dumping it into this bucket, letting it settle, let the water and the sludge and crap settle to the bottom, leave it for a day or whatever. And then if there's any floaters on top, I'll just scoop them off. But then I got this spigot coming off the side here, which is, you know, a couple inches up from the bottom. So all those sludge and water will be down here. And then I'm just draining it off through this smaller valve. into my bucket or can or whatever. So basically, if it goes through this thing, then it's definitely going to go through that thing. Then it's going straight from there into this pipe, and there's no like little nozzle or anything that's going to have a restriction. So as far as I can tell right now, the only restriction is this filter, which obviously there's some crud getting through there. So I think what I'll probably do, just turn that off for a second. I think what I'm gonna do is just get a little kitchen strainer and put here. I will filter it, get rid of that thing, and that should be, that should be good to go. All right, so I figured I'd just stick a little kitchen strainer there to see if I catch anything. This is just a strainer I use for my sand. So when I get the sand from like the gravel place, focus. When I get the sand from the gravel place, I've sifted all through this to get the bigger pieces out. Definitely time consuming, but the finer your sand, the better your results are gonna be. Anyway, yeah, I'll just run it through there, see if I do actually catch some crud. But like I say, it don't matter. As long as there's no restrictions here and I can get out of the valve out of this tank, then it should be fine. Actually, you can probably see there are a couple floaters in there, some sticks or leaves. So I'm gonna fill this up and yeah, prep a few patterns, and yeah, we'll get this going later. Okay, here's where I'm at. I've got 6, 12, 18 vices here, 2 in each can. One thing I actually started doing with the cans, so I don't have to eat a can of soup every time I want to cast, is I slit the can open and taped it back together with some masking tape. So when you fill up around the slit there, the tape with the sand, the tape will burn off in the aluminum, but the aluminum won't go out through the sand. So when you unmask or take them out of the box here, I can just pop that can off and reuse it. So that seems to be working pretty good. I've got 18 there. I'll bring them out when they're ready. When the metal is molten, I'll just wheel them out to keep them in here where it's still kind of warm. I've got 5 of these bathroom signs set up, one in each can here. They're kind of big, like they're 1-inch thick bricks really. So what I like to do is have a can that's big enough so when you pour the metal in, you can fill the can up and just leave it and let it do its thing. If you use a can that's too small, you have to keep feeding it as it flows in, and it can be tough if there's fire and stuff happening. One thing with the lost foam, you're using like a dry sand, right? So when you start pouring this thing, you have to keep pouring it. If there's at any point the aluminum stops flowing, the sand will cave and you'll just ruin your part. So yeah, definitely a good idea just to pour, fill it up and be done. So I got 5 of them, 18 of those. The burner, so here's the funnel that I'm hoping to use this in the burner. See, it's a little squished on the end, but a lot of oil should be able to flow through there. I popped that little filter out, so hopefully that was my only issue there with that restriction. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I got my fire going. It's kind of warm, but I got my fire going. I'm trying to make a good bed of coals. Definitely way easier to start that thing if you fill it up with coals first. And yeah, and I got my 5-gallon oil can filled up. And I'm hoping to be efficient enough now that I could just do what I need to do with that 5 gallons and not need more. So I'll get that burner going, and yeah, we'll do some casting. All right, the sun has just started to set. I figured I'd show you guys my setup here before I get going. I know I've shown this before, but you know, for anybody that's new here, I got these fire bricks. They're kind of like fire pit bricks. They're made for stacking around for a fire pit. And then I got a bunch of bricks that came out of a wood stove. So they're not probably rated for the highest temperatures, but they're not going to explode. They're made for being in the heat. And then I just got like one of these half pipes of steel. I got that in there. It's kind of a back shield with a few more bricks stacked behind it. Got a few bricks laying on the ground and a few more bricks are on the side here that my crucible is going to sit on. Now this thing is obviously pretty huge. It's just a 20-pound propane bottle that I cut off and welded a little handle onto so I can hook into there. It's awesome because I can like put like big chunks of metal in there, and then that'll just go in here. I'm trying to do it one-handed. They'll just sit in there. There's a bit of airspace underneath now that it's sitting up on a couple of those bricks. For my lid, I just got just some pan that's made for going under hot water tanks or whatever. You know, I just found it in a dumpster, so I'll just throw that on top. I got my 5 gallons of oil sitting in this water bottle with a decent valve, and then I'll bring my burner out, shove it in there. I got just a hole dug in the rocks here for it to sit in and be set up, but I just need to go inside and shovel some coals out of my fireplace into the burner. That's going to give a nice coal base to start. So as soon as I start hitting it with the air, it'll heat up pretty quick, and then I can add oil fairly quickly. Because otherwise it's super hard to start. But I mean, I suppose a guy could like fire up his charcoal barbecue, cook a steak, and then take his remaining coals and throw into the burner, I suppose, if you wanted to. Probably be a good efficient way to do it. But yeah, I'll go in there now and fill up that burner with some coals. Bring it out, shove it in there, stick the air to it. We'll get it going. Try and get this metal melted, and then I'll just bring out my boxes with the castings ready. When the metal's ready to go, stick them there, grab the metal, pour it, and that's the plan. So yeah, let's do it. I don't know if I need to show you this or not, but I basically just taken a few coals out of my fireplace, dropping them everywhere, sticking them in there. Load this thing up. And I'm just gonna load this thing up with coals, get a good amount in there before I get smoked out, and then bring it out back, stick the air and oil to it, and it should just go. Gotta open the door. Ooh, I guess there's some oil still in it. Alright, I got the burner, just coals in it. Just gonna ram that in there. Get my oil in the funnel, and then the blower, I'll just put it on low, and you should see those coals kick off. grabby here. I don't know if you can see that. There's no oil coming in it right now. Just that air with those coals is starting to like cook. But there's lots of coals in there, so I can start feeding a little oil in here. I don't know if you can see that. That's a lot. Oh, something popped. I'm gonna turn it down, it's kind of low. There you go, you hear that kick in? That's the oil hitting it. Oh, something else popped. Not sure what that's all about. Yeah, but that should, maybe it's the burner itself, because it's been flaking off. I don't know how much longer this thing's gonna last before it punches a hole through it. I probably used it a dozen times and it's been scaling a lot of metal off it. But yeah, that bit of oil, those coals, she's lit, man. Easy as that. I got a lot of oil going in there. Try and turn that down a bit. I like to ramp it up slowly. So. Alright, I'll get that cooking and we'll be back. Okay, I was on the phone. My cousin called me. This thing is like hot. The metal's melted. It's running like a dream. No backups there. I got that issue resolved. Aluminum's melted. I'm gonna skim it off and then drag out a couple boxes, see if we can't pour something. So just bear with me here. I think what I'll do while I'm waiting for those to cool down and check them is I'll pour 6 of these vices. I did top the sand up. I don't know if you can see that around the cans here where I got the tape, so that when I fill these cups up, it doesn't flow out. But this thing is burning like crazy right now. It's pretty epic. I just got a little drizzle coming out of there. Got real good control. I'm not sure what I melted the last time. There was a lot of slag. I've seen some bright pops and stuff. I think there might have actually been some magnesium in there as well. So anyway, I'll get ready and pour these vices here. Here we go. Nice thing about having a big, like, that big crucible. Like that is like hopefully fit some big chunky bits like this piranha in there. See if I can't melt that. Definitely a couple vices there. Alright, so I almost ran out of oil with this thing. I thought it was going to be more efficient than that, so I brought out this other, my strainer bucket. It's got a good bit of oil in it, so we got the stream going. This big old trunk of piranha stool that was a fail. It's taking a bit to melt, but it's definitely softening up. I imagine it'll be gone shortly. And yeah, alright, we'll be back for the pour. See what I mean about the fire now. If you don't have a can big enough to take all the metal, that really becomes a pain in the butt. So it's nice just to pour it, let it fire off, do its thing, and it's good. Well, I contaminated my metal. I threw a power tool or something in there, and it looks like it must have a lot of zinc in it, because it's pretty nasty. I noticed, like, when I couldn't believe how much like crud and dross was floating up on the top as well. I should have just poured it off and not used it, but what can you do now? Live and learn. I mean, I can even see how gross that is, maybe. And it looked like they worked last night, but looking at them now, they're not good. See how rough that edge is? Little spots all over like that. So that's a bummer. 6 ruined there. Those are, I think they're fine. I haven't had a close look at them yet. I gotta cut them off and clean them up. I don't care if there's zinc in that or whatever. It's just a decoration. I haven't unmolded the other ones yet. Well, you can see these 3. Look how gross that is. That kind of purpley tinge usually means there's, from what I've seen, I'm not 100% sure on this, but it usually means pretty good bit of zinc in there. Same thing, these vices. It's a lot better. So I must have poured this and then poured this. It's a lot better. Still not perfect. And then these actually look pretty decent. Probably the last ones I poured after I had clean aluminum. So I'll get these out and we'll have a look at them. Okay, so here's where I'm at. First batch of vices are junk. That metal needs to just go in the trash or whatever. This second set looks pretty good at first glance. I'm gonna have to wait until I wire wheel them and stuff and have a better look at them, but they look pretty good. These look pretty good, so I think they're all fine there. And these other 3 signs came out. For the most part, I think this one is a little tiny short there on the corner. And I think there's a little right there. It didn't quite fill, but yeah, I'll leave it there with these. I'll cut the sprues off these and give them a wire wheel, and we'll have a better look at them. All right, so I cleaned them up a bit. Didn't come out too bad actually. These 3 I poured with the same metal. They actually work pretty decently. They're heavier. They're like a good bit heavier than these 2. These are like 1.2 kilos, and these are both like 1 kilo even. So I'm not sure what happened. I figured there's some zinc in these for sure. But these are lighter. I thought they'd be more pure aluminum, but they didn't cast the best. You see these some holes and stuff here. Some pitting and stuff, so I'm not sure what was going on. But yeah, I mean, lesson learned, I guess. I need to definitely be more particular about what I'm actually throwing in that pot and melting. Here's that first set of vices I poured. Look how nasty that is. Didn't cast at all. Pretty rough. Versus the last ones I poured, they came out real clean. So I think this is more pure aluminum compared to this. But this is actually quite light, so I don't know if there's zinc in it or what the deal is. This one's actually lighter than this. So it's definitely, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I got a bunch more sand. I got a bunch more oil on the way, so I'm gonna do it again. The burner ran great, and I think if I just be a little more cautious about what I'm melting next time, we'll be able to get some pretty decent results. So anyway, I'll leave it there. I do have one clip to throw in here at the end just to talk about the burner, some safety issues with it. So yeah, stick around for that. It's worth watching, and we'll see you next time. All right, so I was talking to a guy last night, and he brought up some valid concerns, so I thought I should probably address that. If you do build one of these burners, you have to realize you're dumping a combustible fluid into a closed cylinder basically and combusting it, so there's that potential for that thing to blow off. I had mentioned before about like cutting the oil with a bit of gasoline to make it a little more volatile. It makes it a little easier to light for sure. And I did have this thing pop once when I was using gas. It didn't blow up, but it did go poof and blow a big blast out the port there. So I mean, I don't know, I've been running it. I haven't had a problem, but you could be teetering on the edge of failure and not even realize it. So I haven't been using any gasoline in my oil lately. I find just putting a good bed of coals in there to get it started, you can just put the oil in and it's fine. So it's only, I got 2 holes in this cylinder, but I got the 2-inch air line going in. And then on the front side here, I got this, it's a pretty big hole. It's like a 4-inch, I think, pipe coming out. But even with that, with the air coming in, it's still creating enough back pressure that I'm getting air comes back up my oil inlet. So if I turn my blower up too high, I'm still getting oil kind of getting blowed back up through here. So that's telling me that this 4-inch pipe is probably not big enough. So I think if when I build another one here pretty soon, this thing's not gonna last forever. It's flaking off. I think when I do it again, I'm gonna maybe put a 5 or 6 inch hole there, and hopefully that'll give it enough exhaust so I don't get the backflow coming back through the oil. So yeah, anyway, if you do make one of these, you definitely want to make sure you have a big opening for it to exhaust out, because last thing you want to have this thing just blow off if that hole's too small. You know, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to figure it out, but I thought I should tell you that. And other than that, it's been running like a champ, just on low speed on the blower. It's doing what I needed to do. I don't really need to have more airflow through there, but at the same time, it'd be nice to be able to crank the blower up and like really cook a whole rim or something. But yeah, it's a good rig, and just make sure you have a big enough opening here in the front in case you do have that little bit of a explosion thing happen, that is able to release it and not blow the whole thing up, you know what I mean? So all right, I think I'll leave it there. I picked up a bunch of new sand, and yeah, just trying to find some more oil and we'll get her going again here. We'll see you next time.